Hey everyone, welcome back to Installation 00, and more specifically, welcome to the Armory. It's been a long time, I know. This is where all weapons from Halo lore will be featured and analysed in detail, and in this episode, we look at the needle rifle. Let's begin. The Type 31 needle rifle, or simply the needle rifle, is an infantry weapon originally manufactured by the Covenant's Sacred Promissory, formerly in service with the Covenant Empire's military. In case you are not already familiar, the number designation being the Type 31 for the needle rifle is simply a numerical designator that aligns with the year this particular permutation of the needle rifle was first encountered by the UNSC. So the needle rifle was first encountered in 2531, hence the Type 31 designator. As such, this makes it one of the earlier weapons encountered by the UNSC, but still more recent than what would be considered the standard loadout of Covenant forces, being the plasma pistol and rifle. Even the needler was first encountered 2 years after the needle rifle was, in 2533. Interestingly, although the needle rifle is designated as 31, the needle rifle was used during the Battle of Cercinus IV, which took place in 2526. The only viable explanation as to why it's designated the Type 31 and not the Type 26 is that there were only 3 survivors on the entire planet, and as such, no records of the weapon being used made it back to the UNSC. The Type 31 rifle fires unconventional long and razor-sharp projectiles made of blamite. The projectiles detonate several seconds after coming to rest in soft tissue. The needle rifle is a fully automatic medium-range rifle, similar in many aspects to the Covenant's Type 51 carbine. The reload process of the needle rifle is also very similar to that of the carbine. The weapon's housing is the conventional cellular hexagonal purple pearlescent material that clads a wide array of Covenant technologies, with use of grey and silver alloy for functional components of the weapon, including the barrel, firing mechanism, rear housing and stock. It features an integrated scope which doubles as a hatch, which flips open to expose a small canister that ejects upon opening, and a new canister can be inserted by the user. This canister contains the blamite needles. The needle rifle measures 126.7 centimeters in length, or 49.9 inches, 24.1 centimeters in width, or 9.5 inches, and 37.4 centimeters, or 14.7 inches in height, and weighs 7.9 kilograms, or around 17 pounds. Unlike the Type 33 needler, the needles fired from the rifle do not home or track on the enemy. They fire in a straight line at high velocities, similar to that of the M392 DMR. The rifle can fire approximately 150 rounds per minute with a total ammunition capacity of 21 needle shards. Rounds travel much faster than that of the needler, leaving the needle rifle's only destructive similarity to the needler being the individual or collected needle explosion. The only difference between the reloads of the carbine and the needle rifle is that the canister for the carbine is not covered by any sort of hatch, which in the case of the needle rifle is its scope. This reload process implements another difference from the needler, which actually summons new needles from inside the weapon through the operation of what is suspected to be an internal mechanism. Razor-sharp, crystalline projectiles made of subanese crystal, or blamite, are fired from the needle rifle, and the crystalline projectiles appear to contain some type of gas or energy, which is released upon impact with the target. After several needles have struck a target in the same general area, the needles will react to each other, triggering an explosion that kills the victim instantly. The explosion of multiple needles is a result of proximal resonance instability, whereby the resonant frequency of the crystalline material of one shard positively reinforces another, causing the other shards to resonate at a higher frequency, which in turn causes the others to resonate at an even greater frequency. This positive feedback loop pushes the resonance to the limit of the structural integrity of the crystalline material, causing it to smash and release the plasma energy packet contained within quite violently, in a similar way to a certain note and frequency can cause a crystal glass to sing to the point it smashes. When either a single or multiple needles detonate, they release crystal shrapnel, which can embed itself in nearby organisms. Thus, friendly fire is often a necessary consideration in close quarters combat. Blamite is one of the few unique ammunition types in the Covenant arsenal. When used as ammunition, blamite is capable of 2 types of damage to a target: penetration damage, caused by the needles impacting flesh and entering, and the usually resulting supercombine, the combined explosion of multiple, usually 7 needles, wedged in a body. A crystalline projectile can cause fatal damage to its victim. A single shard can cause internal bleeding or strike a vital organ, with untreated wounds resulting in death. The resulting detonation of the shard upon penetration also spreads micro-shrapnel throughout the victim. Depending on the impact area and angle, several crystalline shards can cause amputation of limbs, and impacts to the chest are, in most cases, immediately fatal. The super-combined properties can easily crack ribs, damage the lungs or heart, and cause severe flesh damage that can be very difficult and often impossible to repair. If enough rounds impact and detonate simultaneously, the unfortunate target is quite literally blown apart. The needle rifle fires its ammunition at an impressively high speed, matching that of the DMR at around 2,600 feet per second, or nearly 800 meters per second. Although admittedly this estimation is based on in-game measurements and as such may not be lore accurate. This makes the rounds immensely difficult to dodge for a Spartan and impossible for a normal unaugmented human. Its high accuracy and scope make it ideally fitted to medium to long range combat, although skilled operators can still harness its immense power at close ranges, although due consideration must be taken of blowback from combined explosions, with tiny shards of crystal possibly injuring the shooter. Its combined explosive properties also make it an ideal psychological warfare weapon, with a concealed shooter being able to dismember or utterly destroy a target with only a few quick-fire shots, which increases the chances of remaining concealed from the enemy while causing psychological distress to the survivors, and the explosions also offer proximal damage to targets grouped close together, with the explosion also occasionally setting off grenades held by the victim or lying on the ground nearby. The needle rifle has become less and less common over the years, meaning if you are lucky enough to come across one on the battlefield, it's not always guaranteed you'll be able to find an abundant amount of ammunition. And as previously mentioned, although the projectiles are made of blamite, they do not track or home in on targets in any degree, meaning that if a shot is made from extreme distance and the target moves out of sight, the projectile will not arc and home in on the target, instead just being a clean miss, while also simultaneously possibly giving away the position of the shooter, or at the very least, announcing their presence. It is also, interestingly enough, not able to create a super combined explosion on shielded opponents. The hits instead just degrade the shielding rather than adding to the super combine. Only rounds that actually hit flesh or armour and stick count towards the explosion. This is likely due to the aforementioned proximal resonance instability, where the needle rounds either fracture or deflect upon striking a shield, and as such are not in the locale when additional rounds arrive on target. This must be accounted for by the shooter. The needle rifle is an extremely effective weapon. Its high rate of fire, ability to be used effectively at medium and long range, high accuracy and particularly devastating ammunition makes it a nightmare for UNSC forces being pinned down by jackal sharpshooters, and when in the hands of hateful elites, this weapon can not only be a deadly weapon, but also a weapon of torture. A skilled elite can place shots well enough to remove arms and legs, while keeping the victim otherwise alive, at least for a short duration, prolonging the agony and perhaps coercing other UNSC forces in the immediate vicinity out of cover to try to help their fallen comrade, opening up the opportunity to take out more units. It is a devastating weapon to be on the receiving end of, but a hell of a power trip to be wielding, especially if you're sadistic enough to pin enemies to walls and watch them pop. Thanks for watching. Stick your comments down below, I look forward to what you have to say. I want to give a quick shout out to my patrons: Neek the Silent Cartographer, Brian, Sebastian, Red Sea, Darian, Stalker of the Realms, Falcon X003, Alvin, Mr. Fell, Flaming Halo the Revanche, Starlight, Viking, Legions Lost, the TG7, and TJ Jazz, the Holders of the Mantle, my glorious Reclaimers, my loyal Metarchs, and all the other patrons that have jumped aboard to support the channel. You guys are awesome, and all this would not be possible without you. If you like Halo lore discussed to insane levels of detail, hit that subscribe button and the little bell icon so you're told the second a new video hits the shelves. Be sure to support us on all major social media channels, including Discord, and if you really love the channel, consider heading over to Patreon and supporting the channel over there. It would mean the world to me and would free up more of my time for me to put into this content and other Halo-related goodness. Take it easy, everyone, and find peace in the domain.